Hi, my name is Wilx, and this is episode 23 of Project Ozone 2 Reloaded. And we're playing here in Titan mode. So today we're going to go over sparks and their augments, my Endoflames setup, how I'm going to be making some bedrockium, some Lilypads of Fertility. We're going to make some of those. And we're going to open up some reward bags and have an extra note from me at the end of the episode. So let's go over. Oh, before we get started on that, I want to make some nature seeds. And let me show you the reason I want to get there. I want to make some Lilypads of Fertility by the end of this episode. To do that, we're going to need lily pads. To make lily pads, you need nature essence. To make nature essence, you need nature seeds. To make nature seeds, I'm going to use 4 pumpkins with a Minicio seed and some Axio essence. The Axio essence is just a weak stone with Minicio around it. To get a weak infusion stone, that's just a diamond with actually I think I used an emerald with Minicio essence around it. And we got lots of Minicio essence from the farm. So we'll come over here and we'll stick in the seed, those, that, and that. We'll let it get around there. And now it started doing its thing. I didn't get the little dial on it. Okay, but it happened pretty quick. Whoops. Seed. There it is. Nature seeds. And let's get started on these guys over here. Put those in. Oh, and we got to turn you on. And we'll turn on the sprinklers for now. Okay, and hopefully we'll get some of those by the end of the episode. While we're over here, I'll mention this other farm I set up. Notice this one is mature. And it's still mature, and it hasn't been collected. It's still mature, and it hasn't been collected. Now it's been collected. They're taking too long to get to it. I made this 15 by 15. You can do that when you put an octadic capacitor in them. I think I'm going to shrink it down again to a 7 by 7. I'll use more of these if I need them. It seems to take too long to get to them, especially when I start putting lily pads underneath and they start maturing very, very quickly. That just isn't fast enough on a 15 by 15. So to avoid problems and overlap, I need to leave a gap of 4 in between. And I can start my next farm here, because the 15 by 15 overlap would go there. Because that's just the way the math works out. So I'm going to shrink it down. I'll move the farm over a little bit, and I'll use more than one. The farming station I got here, I didn't make a new one. I just stole it from the capacitor seats downstairs. Something I forgot to mention last time. When I made the Matic, now I put the luck on it, but I also wanted it to have lots of durability, so I used dark steel and some other neat stuff to get lots of durability. It's absolutely useless in this. I could have used flint in here and it wouldn't have mattered, just so long as I put the luck on it, because it doesn't use any durability at all. Notice it's not using bone meal at all on these things either. Okay, so let's go back over here and talk about sparks. Okay, so I made more sparks. We've done those before. You've seen them. And I made some spark augments recessive. I talked about those last episode. and I needed the pixie dust, which we got last episode, to do them. So these sparks here do not have any augments on them. Neither does this one. This one could have an augment of a different type, the isolated. You could put an isolated on it, but I don't know that it matters. I might do that later anyways, just because they mentioned that's what an isolated is for over the agglomeration. I should pronounce that correctly. Agglomeration plate. Okay, so around each, now these are the, I made these with the Dreamwood, the Elven Mana spreaders, and each one has 8 flowers attached to it. So I replaced the mana spreaders that were pointing at pools up above for these as well. So there's 8 flowers for this one, and there's another one on the other side for those that have 8 flowers. Each of these has a recessive augmentation on the spark. See the little glowy symbol floating around it? Maybe you can see it better here. What that means is it's going to try, these sparks are going to try to take the mana out of this pool and move it to the sparks that don't have a recessive augmentation. And it can travel quite a distance. Like it can go from all the way up there over to here easily. So it's a lot neater the way it works. It's faster on transferring mana. It works a lot better. Over here, I do have sparks above these pools, but I did something else that I didn't do last episode. I put in a piston here. Now, this could be old information. I'm working on, I did the math and some testing over a year ago, and it was better to turn this thing off in between if you weren't using it every Minecraft day sort of thing. Because it didn't take very long to completely suck dry the pools that I had for it. So I decided from now on I'm going to turn it off. And I do that with this. That's a sticky piston. It pulls one away. That'll turn it off. Do that. It can turn back on. Just hit it with the wand of the forest and I'll light it up again. The reason that I noticed it was I didn't have enough Dreamwood to do these 2 spreaders. So I needed to make some more. So I'll light it up and I'll make some more later, but I got busy with other stuff. Okay, so Endoflames. I made 32 Endoflames. Again, they've got enchanted soil, which is by putting the overgrowth seed on grass, not dirt, grass. And I put them around each one of them in a little pattern of 8. Now, I'm not sure if you can see down there. See, there's a little piece of charcoal bouncing around down there. And there's a pressure plate that's moving up and down. So each time as a flower eats the charcoal, the pressure plate goes up and down, setting another piece of charcoal up. Let me show you how that works. We'll go underneath. Okay, so down here, under each of those pressure plates is just a vanilla dropper. And the dropper has the pressure plate attached to it on top, and each of them has a redstone torch on the side. The redstone torch must have a block of some sort above it. In this case, it's the enchanted soil, but it could be any block. There has to be a block above it. What that does is normally a pressure plate would activate when you put something on top of it. When you put the redstone torch on the side like this, the pressure plate activates, when the pressure plate activates as nothing's on top of it, it sends the signal instead of when something is put on top. So every time the charcoal leaves, it sends a pulse and it pushes up another piece of charcoal. And it's a pretty good system that way. And these things are all full of charcoal. And it's being fed by this interface, which is keeping 64 charcoal in it. It's better than using 4 channels with export buses. But then I got this weird thing in the middle here. Why have I got an hourglass? Well, the problem with this idea is if the charcoal up top ever despawns, then it doesn't get pushed again, and they just shut off, and they don't start up again until you put something back on top of them. Well, when you go out of range, or when you're first log in, or whatever, there may not be a piece of charcoal there. So I've got this set for once every minute right now. It sends a pulse through once a minute, and it pushes up an extra piece of charcoal. So it will never be off for more than a minute. And the thermal lilies are going to go through charcoal faster than that, so I don't have to worry about it despawning. The advantage to this method, because you could have done it with just the timer, is, let's say you're first logging in and none of the lilies have, not lilies, sorry, the endoflames have anything in them, so they all need to be fed at once. Well, they would have to wait their turn one at a time to get their fed. This is much quicker in that it reacts immediately to what the endoflames want. They can immediately eat, the next one can immediately eat, the next one, all very fast. So it just seemed a little more efficient to me to do it this way. And then it's just a red net cable. Oh, I forgot to disconnect it. I should show you this because you may not know. So don't hit the little white, see the white ring? Don't hit that. Hit the black part there 3 times. And you disconnect it. It doesn't matter that it's there. It's just a looks thing. There we go. So they're disconnected now. All right. So that pretty much covers it, I think, for the endoflames. Let's go look at something else here. My signature structure. If you ever looked at my banner page, you see something like this on it. As far as I know, nobody had quite set them up, quite set it up like I have here. Lots of people use drawers to compress their cobble, but I used it with a drawer controller, which feeds out to another drawer, which feeds out to another drawer. So now I'm up to 6 tuple compressed cobble. I got 189, and it's only been running a little while. So things of note. Okay, let's go around to the end. You can see a little bit of there. So it's alternating lava and water around each piece of cobble. There's a roll along the bottom there, a roll along the top here. Each of these drawers has 2 of these things facing into it. And each of them so far has 2 stacks of world interaction upgrades and 8 speed upgrades. Eventually it will have 4 stacks of world interaction upgrades, and I don't know whether I need half a stack or 3/4 of a stack of speed upgrades. I might play around and see what happens. And the item filter just is saying only put cobble in this spot here. Even if you lock the drawer, if you kill a mob nearby, it can get stuffed with a mob drop or something. And it can be a fair distance away, maybe like 12. I dropped down some interdiction torches while I was working to just keep creepers from coming over and blowing the thing up, because it was kind of close to the edge. Another thing to note, the last time I did this, I didn't have this problem. I had 12 going out from the drawer controller on one side of it. This time when I put 10 on each side, I needed to put 2 outputs because it wasn't pulling out of here fast enough. Even when I had 15 speed upgrades in this thing, it couldn't keep up with 20 drawers. Or like 40 of these things going full tilt. So I put 2 on it. I might even need to put a 3rd one on it, or even a 4th one on it when I put the rest of the speed upgrades in there. The reason I don't have more speed upgrades, the reason I started doing it in the first place was I had too much lapis. I was going to have to assign another drawer to lapis, and I go, oh well, it's about time I used it if I got too much. Got the AE system to make them for me. So as I started to make them, I ran out of iron. I couldn't believe it. I ran out of iron. With all the iron that's on this map, I actually ran out. Now, part of the reason that I ran out is I'd had two gold chests full of iron ore, sand, and gravel and stuff like that I just didn't bother to process because I didn't want to store all that iron. So now I had a good excuse to start making iron again. And I decided I'd put it in this so I get the doubling instead of just shoving it in a furnace and getting a single. And now I've got lots of iron again. Did I show you how I was making the charcoal? I don't remember doing that. Okay. If I'm repeating myself, I apologize. The way I'm making it is I've put this on here. It's only extracting oak wood, so it's just not going to drawer controller. It's going directly to the drawer, which is a little different than all the other times I've done things. It's deliberately going in from the top on the furnace, and it's coming out from the bottom and going into this one, putting the charcoal in there. And I'm feeding it lava. So it's got a liquid fuel upgrade in there. The reason it's not getting any right now was I was running out of wood, and I have 36,000 charcoal. So I figured that was enough when I was running out of wood. Now I do have this farm turned on again, so I'll get lots of wood pretty fast. It goes really quick. The only thing I've got to increasing the speed is I use the fertilized dirt from random things. You can't use it with very many things, but you can use it with vanilla trees. And the reason I'm using charcoal instead of coal for the ender lilies is I discovered that I went and did the math. One of my goals, what I'm working towards right now, is making an energy condenser. To make the energy condenser, to make the Philosopher's Stone to get there, I'm going to need 9,728 coal to make the Eternalist fuel to make the red matter and the dark matter. I only have 13,000 coal. So if the Endoflames started eating a whole bunch, I would have run out of coal, and coal doesn't do as well with the Philosopher's Stone as charcoal. Sorry, other way around. Charcoal doesn't do as well as coal. So I decided I can make lots of charcoal really fast, so I'll use that instead. Okay. And again, I don't know whether I mentioned or not. The reason I'm doing niter wart over there right now is I should have already had it going. I need to start processing some end stone to get draconium. Either that or I gotta go mining out the end. But I think it's easier to just automate a method with this. But these aren't going fast enough. I just set this up just before we did this episode. So I'll change all that over and get that going quicker and set up a sieving process to get the draconium dust. I'll show you how to do that. I did it in Project Ozone 1, so you would have already seen it there. Okay, let's open some reward bags. I haven't done it for a while now. So let's get started on this. These are basics, junk. Cooking for blockouts, who cares? The regular ore processing upgrades, I don't care. Don't care. Junk. Junk. Well, maybe I should open some of those someday. Okay. Well, those were all basic bags anyway, so didn't expect much. These are good bags. Let's see what we got. Tape. Packing tape. I already had that one. More junk. More junk. Another portal gun. Useful. I don't know if I can make another unique one or not. Golden apple. Which golden apple was it? Yeah, it's the notch, right? Yeah, that's worthwhile. But I can make lots of them. Rolled up newspaper into whetstone. Apply sharpness 3 using an anvil. If I'm not using a tinkerer's weapon, that might be useful. Got to open chance cubes before that matters. I'm not using that anywhere near my base. That causes a huge amount of fire. Don't care. Soapy water. I don't think I've got that one yet. Have I had any soapy water? No. What you use the soapy water in is the washing machine is for your armor, and the dishwasher is for weapons. So if you needed to repair a weapon, you'd put soapy water in the dishwasher and do it that way. Now, it doesn't work with the tinkerer's weapons, but if you're using, let's say, one of those special weapons that you get from reward bags or whatever, and armor, it's useful for that. Now, the soapy water doesn't go away as long as you keep the washing machine turned on. So that's actually useful. A lot of people think it's a junk, but no, it's actually useful. Whoops, I still got stuff on me. Now we're on to greater bags. Growth pulsar, those are useful. Growth pulsars are less useful now than I'm making lily pads, though. I've had all these things before. Well, if I had a full set, that'd be useful. No, I've already got a ring of flight. What do I care about that stuff? I know what these do, I just never use them. You could like suck up fluids in the world. Cobblestone framework, that's useful, but I've already made a few of those, so they're easy to make. That's a notch apple. So out of that, possibly the growth, I'll use the notch apple. But the growth pulsars could be useful. The advantage to that is you can go down as right to bedrock with those things and have one spot that's extremely good. So I'll probably drop them on the one spot where I am doing crops, like when I'm trying to get it. I'm not 100% sure that they affect mutations, but if they do, that would be very good. Okay, on to our epic bags. Let's hope for something good now. Creative tool modifier. What the hell is that? Oh, this can add an extra modifier to, for instance, the arrows for my crossbow. I've never tried this. I've never had this before. I've never tried it. I think that's what it does. Don't care about any of the other stuff, but that thing's interesting. And I got 4 of them, not even just 1 of them. Sorry, 8 of them. And our legendary. I picked that instead of a heart one time. Starfield Creator. Okay, new to me. Botania, Starfield Creator. I'm going to have to look that one up. I don't know what it does. Okay, before I end this episode off, I want to have one other discussion with you. I'm looking for comments and feedback on what I'm going to say next. I've been running out of money recently. I may have to stop doing as many videos as I do and get another job. So I decided to try turning on monetization. It had been off up until now. And I tried to do it in the least obnoxious way I could. And I only turned it on for ads after the video. So the only way I make any money at all is if somebody actually watches right through to the end and lets the ad run. Most people force you to watch them at the beginning of it and then put banner ads in the middle as well. If I can make any money at all from sticking at the end, I'd rather keep it as good for you people as I can, and less obnoxious than having to watch an ad in the beginning. So give me some feedback. Let me know what you think. Do banner ads bother you at all when they're in the middle of the video? Should I be putting the ads in the beginning instead? Let me know what your thoughts are on it. Well, I hope you found something useful in this episode. Hope to see you next time. Go out there and have some fun. Thanks.